Hello and welcome to my little devlog series where I'm updating, or I guess remaking, a 2D platformer that I had made when I was first learning Unreal Engine in like a class I took for the summer. So I made a ton of these watercolor gouache assets and I scanned them and I imported them as sprites. And this was one of my first like Unreal Engine projects ever. And I just really like the idea of working on a mixed media project. So this whole series is going to be me essentially revamping, rebuilding it with a bit more knowledge and a bit more comfort in the engine than I did to start with. And so the footage that you're seeing right now is kind of the original super alpha build where there's a lot of stuff wrong with it and, well, not necessarily wrong with it. More, it's just very, I was really like learning a lot when I was doing this. And so I'm hoping that I can apply a bit more knowledge to a brand new version of this and just see how it comes along. So one of the first things on my little to-do list is to completely redo the main menu. I am not happy with how this looks. I threw this together during that summer class in like maybe a day. And I wasn't really thinking about graphics or cohesion or UI. I just scanned in some stuff and I made some buttons. But you know what? I think I can make this look better now. So I opened up Photoshop and I actually took a lot of the old like textures that I had made for this project previously because I still really like how they look. These were good scans and I like the watercolor paper texture and I wanted to bring that into the aesthetic of the main menu but kind of make it better. So in my original concept I had made like watercolor buttons to go with it, but this time I think I'm just making them more graphic. I'm keeping rounded edges, I'm keeping it bright, I'm keeping it playful, and I'm just making the little cat sleep in its little bed, and yeah, just giving it a whole new coat of paint, making it a bit more graphic, and I really like how this came out. What I did was I exported just the background without the buttons, and then I exported a background with the buttons so I could place them properly in engine later, and then I exported the buttons individually, and here's all the footage just kind of sped up for you so you can just see what I'm doing. You can definitely tell that I am not a graphic designer, nor am I a UI UX expert. I've taken like a class or two on UI UX, and honestly, I kind of just fiddle around with it until it looks good. That's all I've ever done with anything visually ever, so I think that's just the way to go. I picked very rounded fonts for this, so it just looked all cutesy to just keep that soft vibe going. Now, if you're someone who is more familiar with Unreal Engine than me, you're probably thinking to yourself, why don't you just make the buttons in the Unreal Engine designer? And my answer to that is, I don't want to. I find that I make my graphics so much faster when I make it in Photoshop than if I were to fiddle around with it forever in the designer. And honestly, I'm just exporting like 6 PNGs, so 3 variants of the same button, one for the default, one for it being pressed, and one for being hovered on. And honestly, that's not a lot of work for me. I'd rather design it in Photoshop and export it in Photoshop than spend forever doing it in Unreal Engine. For comparison's sake, here is the old kind of ugly, crusty one that I don't like. And here is the brand new, crispy, fresh one.